So we did what it took to rescue our economy and spark its recovery. And that work goes on. And so I'm pleased to see that we were losing 700,000 jobs a month when I came into office. Now we're gaining jobs. The economy was contracting. Now the economy is growing. The markets are back. We're making progress. We're moving in the right direction. But keep in mind, I didn't run for president just to get back to where we were when we started. I want us to do better than we were doing. I want folks to have more opportunity. I want people to have more and better jobs. And I want our young people to be getting better educations and more access to college. It's time to rebuild our economy on a new foundation so that we've got real and sustained growth. It's time to extend opportunity to every corner of Main Street in every city and every town and every county in America so that young people don't feel like they've got to move someplace else to make their way. They can stay right here in Quincy. They can stay in Monroe. They can stay in Macon. They can stay in Fort Madison. It's time to create conditions so that Americans who work hard can gain ground again. And they don't have to take out a bunch of credit card debt. They don't have to endanger their long-term financial future. And that's at the heart of all our efforts. It's why we made the biggest investment in clean energy in our history, creating middle-class jobs in middle America that harness the wind and the sun and biofuels that won't be shipped away, jobs that'll stay right here in the United States of America and create energy independence so we don't have to import as much oil. It's why we took on the special interests and reformed the student loan system so that it works for students, not bankers. I don't know if people paid attention to this because we were having such a big debate around health care. People may have missed this. Yeah, the way the student loan system was working, the federal government was guaranteeing these loans, but the banks were still taking billions of dollars of profits out of the student loan program. And my attitude is, well, if we're guaranteeing them, then where's the risk? So what are you getting paid for? So we said, we'll just lend the money directly to the students. And that saved tens of billions of dollars in wasteful spending that we're now reinvesting in making college more affordable and upgrading America's community colleges so that every young person in America can get ahead in the 21st century. And yes, Quincy, that's why we finally passed health reform in America. Reform that will begin to end some of the worst practices in the insurance industry this year. So this year, they will have to stop dropping you when you get sick. This year, children with pre-existing conditions, they've got to be able to buy insurance. This year, some of these lifetime limits that mean that you got insurance but you still end up being bankrupt, those practices are going to end. And in a few years, millions of families and small business owners are going to have more choice, more competition. You're going to be able to purchase the same kind of high-quality, affordable care that members of Congress get. And you know that's going to be pretty good. You know they're going to give themselves good insurance. You're going to be able to buy it too. And by the way, this reform will reduce our deficit by more than $1 trillion. And listen, this notion, I know the debate was contentious, but the truth of the matter, since I've been here, I've already met, I was in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, met a woman, met a woman at Jerry's, you know Jerry's, right? There's a restaurant there, and met a woman, and she said, she came up and she said, you know, My husband's self-employed. I'm a homemaker. We both have pre-existing conditions. You know, we need help now, you know. And I told her, well, this is exactly why we fought so hard for health care reform. And then today, I met a woman who had breast cancer, and she was wondering, how soon can we start moving on some of these programs inside the health care legislation? This isn't some abstraction. You know, sometimes the folks who are fighting us, they made it sound as if, oh, he just wants big government this. No. I just want people to be able to not go bankrupt and lose their house when they get sick. I just want them not to see their premiums doubled. I don't want them to be taken advantage of by insurance companies. I want you to get a fair deal and a fair shake, and that's part of my job as President of the United States of America. Now, I love you back. Now, speaking of you getting a fair shake, that's why we need good old common sense Wall Street reform. And we need it today. We don't need it next year. We don't need to do another study and examine it. We need it now. And in case you're wondering, let me just take a minute to explain why it's important to you. The crisis we went through, it wasn't part of the normal economic cycle. What happened is you had some people, not all people, there's some very decent people here, but you know, who are in the financial sector, but you had some people on Wall Street who took these unbelievable risks with other people's money. They made bets. You know, they were making bets on, you know, what was going to happen in the housing market. And, they would create these derivatives and all these instruments that nobody understood, but it was basically operating like a big casino. And it was producing big profits and big bonuses for them, but it was all built on shaky economics and some of these subprime loans that had been given out. And because we did not have common sense rules in place, those irresponsible practices came awfully close to bringing down our entire economy and millions of dreams along with it. We had a system where some on Wall Street could take these risks without fear of failure because they'd keep the profits when it was working, and as soon as it went south, they expected you to cover their losses. So it was one of those heads they tail, tails you lose. So they failed to consider that behind every dollar that they traded, all that leverage they were generating, acting like it was monopoly money, there are real families out there who are trying to finance a home or pay for their child's college or open a business or save for retirement. So what's working fine for them wasn't working for ordinary Americans. And we've learned that clearly. It doesn't work out fine for the country. It's got to change. Now, what we're doing, I want to be clear. We're not trying to push financial reform because we begrudge success that's fairly earned. I mean, I do think at a certain point you've made enough money, but you know, that part of the American way is, you know, you can just keep on making it if you're providing a good product or you're providing a good service. We don't want people to stop fulfilling the core responsibilities of the financial system to help grow the economy. I've said this before. I said this on Wall Street just last week. I believe in the power of the free market, and I believe in a strong financial system. And when it's working right, financial institutions, they help make possible families buying homes and businesses growing and new ideas taking flight. You know, an entrepreneur may have a great idea, but he may need to borrow some money to make it happen. You know, it'd be hard for a lot of us to buy a house, our first house at least, if we weren't able to take out a mortgage. So there's nothing wrong with a financial system that helps the economy expand. And there are a lot of good people in the financial industry who are doing things the right way. And it's in our interests when those firms are strong and when they're healthy.